We've got a fascinating collection of sources here, all centered around, well, a single compelling topic. What it really takes to become a star in the often glamorized world of real estate.
Right.
You know, the image, maybe you've seen the shows, the ones about like dope properties and chic outfits. That's the popular perception, isn't it?
It really is. And the sources we've dug into for this deep dive make it abundantly clear that while, yes, there's certainly glamour associated with the top tier,
Yeah.
the reality of building a thriving, sustainable career in real estate goes far, far deeper than just, looking good and showing houses.
Absolutely. This isn't about a few quick sales. It's about constructing a robust, lasting business from the ground up. It demands serious effort, intentional strategy, and frankly, a whole lot of resilience. So our mission here is to kind of cut through the surface level ideas and extract the core strategies, the essential mindsets, and the practical boots on the ground steps outlined in these sources.
Yeah, get to the core of it.
Exactly. We want to give you a comprehensive roadmap based on this material for standing out and truly thriving in this incredibly competitive industry.
And we're working from a pretty solid stack of materials, articles, research papers, notes, all provided specifically for this deep dive. It's rich stuff, offering insights that move beyond the obvious and into the foundational principles of success.
Okay, so as we navigate through these sources, here's what you can expect us to cover. We're going to start right at the beginning, exploring the absolute foundation, getting your mindset straight and putting a solid plan in place.
Crucial first step.
Then we'll look at how you evolve from just being an agent to becoming like a recognizable and trusted brand that clients genuinely connect with.
Yeah, personal connection piece. Yeah.
We'll dive into mastering the essential craft of real estate itself, the knowledge and skills you absolutely need. Building and nurturing those crucial relationships and networks is next.
Can't skip that.
Of course, we'll talk about leveraging technology smartly. We'll also confront the critical business side of real estate, including the market realities you need to understand.
The nuts and bolts.
And finally, we'll explore cultivating that absolutely non-negotiable mindset of resilience.
It's quite a journey outlined in these sources, and we're here to guide you through the most important insights from each step.
All right, let's jump right into that foundation then. One of the most powerful ideas right off the bat in the material is this concept that to be a star realtor, you need to shift your thinking fundamentally. It's not just about being an agent performing transactions.
Right.
It's about becoming an entrepreneur building a business.
That distinction is just paramount. An agent might focus on closing the next deal. An entrepreneur in real estate is focused on building systems, relationships, and a brand that generates consistent business over the long term.
A bigger picture view.
Exactly. This strategic perspective, according to the sources, begins with what they call setting your compass. It's about defining your core purpose before you get swept away by the daily demands,
So it's really about figuring out your why first. The sources really hammer home the importance of articulating your mission, vision, and values up front. Could you maybe walk us through how the material defines those key elements?
Certainly. So the sources define your mission as your current purpose, what you're doing right now, day in and day out. It's the active definition of your contribution. There's a great example given. Delivering curb appeal, contract wins, and coffee-fueled commitment.
I like that.
Yeah.
Coffee-fueled commitment. I appreciate the honesty in that.
It makes it real, doesn't it? It anchors your daily efforts. Then you have your vision. This is your long-term aspiration, the impact you want to make, where you see your business and yourself down the road. The example from the sources is to create a world where moving is an adventure with great snacks and even better service. This is aspirational, right? A future state you're striving to build towards. It's not just about your own success, but the experience you want to consistently provide.
Okay, so mission is the present, the doing. Vision is the future destination, the being. What about values? How do they fit in?
Your values are the non-negotiables. They're the guiding principles that dictate how you operate, your ethical framework, how you treat clients, colleagues, yourself. The sources provide several excellent examples to illustrate this. They talk about authenticity. I keep it real. From coffee chats to contracts. What you see is what you get, and that builds trust.
That makes sense.
Then there's connection. Relationships, transactions. Whether it's a meme or an open house party, I'm in it for the long haul connection. And drive, fueled by hustle and caffeine, I bring great energy, follow through, and a let's make it happen mindset to every deal.
These examples really bring those concepts to life. They sound less like corporate buzzwords and more like operational principles almost.
Exactly. And the material provides questions to help you define these for yourself, urging you to ask, why real estate in the first place? Who specifically do I want to help? What is truly important to me as I build this entrepreneurial venture? What kind of tangible impact do I want to have on my local community? The sources present the act of wrestling with these questions, and defining your answers is absolutely critical. It's the bedrock that drives your success and provides a sense of purpose beyond just the commission checks.
This foundational step, why is it highlighted as so crucial before you even really start selling? It feels, I don't know, maybe counterintuitive to some who might think you just jump in and learn as you go.
That's a really important question.
Yeah.
The sources emphasize that having this clear purpose, this defined mission, vision, and set of values, acts as an internal compass in what can be a pretty chaotic environment. It impacts virtually every decision you make, often subconsciously. It guides the types of clients you attract and choose to work with, the marketing methods you feel comfortable using, how you handle ethical dilemmas, and crucially, how you respond when things get tough.
And things will get tough.
Oh, the source is very clear.
Yeah.
There will be tough times in real estate deals falling through, rejection, slow periods. Connecting back to your core purpose provides the internal resilience and motivation to keep pushing forward when just chasing the next sale isn't enough to sustain you.
Okay.
Without this foundation, you're kind of just reacting to the market, which can be exhausting and, frankly, directionless.
So that deeper why is your anchor in the storm. Okay, so once you've set your compass, the next step the sources describe is plotting your empire, the business plan. Sounds grand.
It does sound grand, but it's framed not as some bureaucratic exercise, but as your essential roadmap to success. It's a practical document that translates your purpose into actionable steps and helps you track progress towards your goals in a structured way.
And what key components does the material suggest should be in this roadmap? What are the essentials?
The sources suggest including your mission, which you've now clearly defined, hopefully. Also, a detailed profile of your ideal client who are you really trying to serve. Your designated farm area, so the specific geographic territory you'll focus on initially.
Got it.
Your planned marketing strategy, how will you reach them? And a really honest evaluation of your own strengths and weaknesses.
So recognizing where you naturally excel and maybe where you might need to build skills or get some help.
Precisely. And to make this concrete, the sources even offer a simplified business plan example, breaking it down into core components: goals, services, marketing, revenue, and what they playfully call your not-so-secret-anymore sauce.
Okay, let's quickly unpack those from the example provided. Goals. What does that look like?
These are your specific measurable targets. The example lists things like close 25 plus homes this year, have a 70% referral-based business, and grow social following and community love. See how they're quantitative and qualitative benchmarks you aim to hit.
Yeah, tangible things to shoot for. And services.
This defines exactly what you offer your clients. The example includes buying and selling homes, pretty standard, but also first-time buyer help, indicating a potential specialization, and virtual tours and local guides, showing a modern approach. It's the scope of your professional offerings.
Okay. Marketing. How you get the word out.
Exactly. How you plan to reach and attract those ideal clients within your farm area and beyond. The example suggests methods like a monthly Hot Homes and Vibey Vibes email, creating reels, memes, and market tips on social media, and engaging in community activities like pop-bys, client gifts, and open house parties. It's the plan for getting your brand and services in front of people.
Revenue. The money part.
Yes, the financial engine, how you expect to earn money. The example lists standard commissions, but also interestingly includes partnerships with local businesses, suggesting a consideration for diversified income streams even at the planning stage.
And that intriguing not so secret anymore sauce, what's that?
That's presented as your unique differentiator, directly tied back to your values and personality, essentially, your unique value proposition, your UVP. The example describes it as being genuine, approachable, and all about you. It's the core essence that makes working with you distinct from working with anyone else.
How does having a written plan like this, something actually on paper or digitally mapped out, really prevent those reactive decisions? Because it feels like in a commission-based world, you might just chase whatever lead comes in the door.
That's a crucial point, and the sources argued that the plan acts as a strategic filter. When a potential opportunity arises, whether it's a lead, a new marketing idea, or an investment in some shiny new tool, you can refer back to your plan and ask, does this align with my ideal client profile? Is this within my chosen farm area? Does this marketing approach fit my defined brand and values?
Right. Does it fit the map?
Exactly. If it doesn't, it helps you recognize it as a potential distraction that could pull you away from your core strategy. A plan forces intentionality. It also provides a concrete benchmark for tracking progress. You don't just rely on a vague feeling of success. You can review your plan regularly, see if you're hitting those measurable goals, and adjust your strategies based on actual data and outcomes, rather than just, reacting to the market's ups and downs.
Okay.
It helps you measure success in a more holistic way, beyond just the number of deals closed this month.
So the plan is your strategic rudder, keeping you on course.
Okay.
With that foundation of mindset and planning in place, the sources then pivot to something absolutely massive, becoming a brand, not just an agent.
Yeah, and this section begins with what I think is one of the most powerful lines in the material. Clients don't choose logos, they choose people.
That's good.
This is a fundamental insight. While the brokerage name you work under provides important backing and credibility, ultimately, when someone decides who to trust with likely their largest financial transaction ever, they are choosing you as an individual. Your personal identity is absolutely key.
That resonates deeply. So defining your personal brand isn't just about picking a color scheme and a fancy logo, then.
Far from it. The sources emphasize that becoming a brand is about being intentional and consistent in how you're seen, remembered, and referred to. It's described beautifully as your reputation in surround sound, the holistic impression people have of you from every single touch point.
Reputation and surround sound. I like that. And how does one go about building that? Where do you start?
You start by identifying your unique value proposition, your UVP. What specifically sets you apart from every other agent in your market? What are your unique strengths, skills, or perspectives? What particular type of clients do you connect with and serve best?
Really drilling down on what makes you you.
Exactly. Once you've defined that, you need to align everything with that identity. That means your marketing materials, your website and social media presence, your communication style, even how you dress and present yourself. Consistency across all these channels is paramount because it reinforces who you are and makes you easily recognizable and memorable. And a key element in building this credibility is showcasing client testimonials. The sources highlight that social proof is incredibly powerful in real estate. When potential clients see genuine positive feedback from people who actually worked with you, it validates your promises and builds immediate trust in your brand before they've even spoken to you.
Yeah, I can absolutely see how a strong personal brand attracts clients. But does this focus on your personal brand help you attract the right clients, the ones that align with that ideal client profile in your business plan? And does building this kind of trust and recognition potentially allow you to maybe command higher commissions or generate better quality referrals?
This raises a critical point the sources address. A strong personal brand built in a clear UVP and authenticity acts like a magnet for your ideal clients. By broadcasting who you are, what you stand for, and who you best serve, you naturally filter incoming leads. People who resonate with your brand are more likely to reach out, leading to smoother, more aligned client relationships. While the material doesn't explicitly guarantee higher commissions across the board, it strongly implies that a recognized and trusted personal brand builds loyalty and significantly increases the volume and quality of referrals.
Right.
People don't just refer a good agent. They refer John, who's amazing with first-time buyers, or Sarah, who really understands the downtown condo market. This positions you as the go-to expert, which is invaluable.
Okay, so brand is about intentionality, consistency, and social proof. But the sources add another fascinating layer here. Authenticity is powerful.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. The material encourages agents to lean into their unique personality, their quirks, their genuine strengths. The message is clear. Don't try to be a generic version of what you think a successful agent should be. Your individuality, the sources suggest, is your unfair advantage.
Unfair advantage. I love that phrasing. It flips the script on maybe feeling different.
It's memorable, right? And it makes the point powerfully. The sources use a great example. If you're naturally introverted, trying to force yourself to do constant cold calling or aggressive door knocking, even if someone else finds it effective, is going to be a constant uphill battle.
Yeah, exhausting.
Exactly. It won't feel authentic to you, it will be draining, and clients might pick up on that lack of genuine comfort. Your lead generation and marketing methods should align with your natural personality and energy.
So your personality isn't something to hide or overcome, it's actually something to leverage strategically.
Precisely. The sources argue that when you operate from a place of genuine authenticity, you attract clients who connect with that specific energy and style. This not only makes your business more effective because you're operating in your zone of genius, but also much more enjoyable and sustainable for you personally.
Makes sense.
They even mention the idea of taking a real estate sales personality quiz as a tool for self-discovery, helping you understand your natural inclinations and how to align your business methods with them.
Okay, but how does an agent actually figure out their personality type and align it with their business methods effectively? And doesn't leaning into a specific personality potentially limit the number of clients they could work with? Isn't that a risk?
That's a fair question. The sources suggest self-discovery tools like quizzes can be a starting point for understanding your inherent preferences. Then, it's really an ongoing process of paying attention to what feels natural and energizing versus what feels draining and forced. Experimentation with different marketing or communication styles, coupled with honest reflection, is key.
Trial and error, kind of.
A bit, yeah. And while it might seem counterintuitive, the sources imply that niching down based on personality or expertise actually attracts better clients, those who are a more natural fit for your style and approach. This often leads to smoother transactions, more positive experiences, and crucially, more organic referrals, because clients know exactly who to send your way for that specific need or style. It's about attracting quality over sheer quantity of leads who might not be the right fit anyway.
That shift from quantity to quality is powerful. And the sources provide a pretty compelling real-world example of this kind of personal branding success story. Ryan Serhant.
Yes, Ryan Serhant is presented as a prime case study in leveraging one's unique background to build a massive personal brand. The sources note his public profile initially from the show $1 Million Listing New York, but they highlight how he strategically leveraged his prior experience in acting and performance.
So he took skills from a completely different field, acting, and applied them directly to real estate?
That's interesting. Exactly. He wasn't just selling houses. He used his comfort in front of the camera, his ability to tell a compelling story, and his performance skills to build a vast digital presence. The sources emphasize his massive social media following, cited as over 8 million across various platforms, as a testament to the reach and effectiveness of his approach, which emphasizes authenticity and, importantly, digital connection.
And they directly link that personal brand success to significant business outcomes, right? It wasn't just about followers.
Yeah, absolutely. The example of his firm, Serhant, securing the listing for that massive $250 million NYC penthouse is highlighted. This isn't just presented as a random big deal. It's framed as a direct result of building a recognized, trusted, and high-profile personal brand in the industry. It demonstrates how personal brand influence can translate into accessing top-tier listings and clients.
Okay, but is leveraging unique personal history or skills like acting applicable to any agent, or is this really only relevant for someone who achieves that kind of public profile? And how has digital marketing fundamentally reshaped personal branding for all agents, not just the TV stars?
What's really insightful here, I think, is that the principle applies broadly. The sources suggest any authentic, unique skill, background, or passion can be a differentiator. Whether you were a teacher with a knack for explaining complex things simply, or a designer with an eye for staging, maybe a local historian with deep neighborhood knowledge, or someone deeply embedded in a specific community through a hobby, these can all become part of your unique value proposition and brand.
Finding your own unique angle.
Exactly. And digital marketing, as highlighted by the Serhant example, has fundamentally democratized and amplified this whole process.
Yeah.
Agents can now build their brand, showcase their personality, share their expertise, and connect with audiences directly through social media, websites, content marketing in ways that were, frankly, impossible not that long ago.
Right.
Your online presence is no longer optional. It is a major component of your personal brand, accessible to everyone, not just TV stars.
That's a powerful reminder of the tools available today. Okay, moving from establishing your brand to the core work itself, the sources devote significant attention to mastering the craft. And the first pillar here is market knowledge, colorfully described as becoming a neighborhood ninja.
Yeah. This is presented as absolutely non-negotiable for success. Becoming an expert in your local market goes far beyond just knowing what's currently listed for sale. It's about understanding the intricate story of the neighborhood.
So, spying on the market, what kind of activities does that involve, according to the sources? What does a ninja do?
It means adopting a mindset of deep, continuous observation and data analysis. The sources outline specific practices, subscribing to MLS updates and comprehensive market reports, MLS, of course, being the multiple listing service the main database agents use.
Got it.
Setting aside dedicated time weekly to analyze that data, looking at things like price changes, inventory levels, days on market, and how interest rates are impacting activity. But it's not just data crunching. No, the material emphasizes getting boots on the ground. Following local government planning and zoning meetings to anticipate future developments, noting renovations happening in your area, spotting for sale by owners, FSPOs, observing investor flips, and paying attention to upcoming listing signs even before they hit the market.
So real-world observation.
Yes, and crucially, engaging with the community, talking to locals at open houses, neighborhood events, or even just at the coffee shop or park. Getting the feel of the place.
So it's a blend of hard data analysis and that softer observational knowledge.
Exactly. It's combining the quantitative with the qualitative. And why does this deep immersion matter so profoundly? The sources explain that it allows you to deliver incredibly sharp, nuanced insights to your clients. You can anticipate market trends, guide clients effectively on pricing strategy or neighborhood suitability, set realistic expectations about the buying or selling process, and ultimately build immense trust and credibility.
Right.
You're not just looking up facts online. You're learning the pulse and the history, the neighborhood story, as they put it.
How does having this kind of deep local expertise give an agent a real competitive advantage against others who might cover a wider area, but maybe more superficially? And can technology like widespread data availability or even AI ever truly replace this kind of boots-on-the-ground human-level knowledge?
That's a really important question. The sources strongly imply that deep local expertise differentiates you significantly. I mean, anyone can access basic listing data these days.
Sure.
But knowing why one block commands higher prices than the next block over, understanding the plan changes to local schools, or having a feel for the community vibe that isn't captured in statistics, that's value only a neighborhood ninja can provide. While technology gives access to vast amounts of data and market reports instantly, and AI is certainly improving data analysis, the sources suggest this supplements, rather than replaces, the qualitative insights gained from being physically present, observing, and engaging with the community. Technology provides powerful tools for analysis and reach, but the deep, intuitive understanding often comes from that immersion. You use technology to leverage your knowledge, not replace it.
Okay, that makes sense. Speaking of staying sharp and adapting, the sources stress continuous learning, keep earning. Seems obvious, but why is it so emphasized?
Well, the real estate landscape is constantly shifting. Laws change, technology evolves rapidly, client expectations definitely increase. The most successful agents, according to the material, are presented as lifelong learners who prioritize staying sharp, adaptable, and ideally ahead of the curve.
What does this continuous learning look like in practice? What should agents be doing?
It means actively seeking out opportunities to grow your knowledge and skills. The sources mention investing in additional certifications beyond your basic license. They specifically mention certifications like Certified Residential Specialist, CRS, which focuses on building expertise in residential real estate, and Accredited Buyer's Representative, ABR, specializing in working with buyers.
Okay.
These aren't just, letters after your name. The sources state they expand your expertise in specific areas and significantly boost your professional image and credibility in the eyes of clients and peers.
So tangible benefits.
Yes. Other avenues include attending continuing education courses regularly, which are often mandated anyway, but the sources suggest successful agents go beyond the bare minimum, participating in industry events and conferences to learn about trends and network, and staying updated on regulatory changes and market shifts through reputable industry sources.
What are the tangible benefits of this constant investment in learning? I mean, how significant is the ROI on getting those additional certifications? Does it primarily make you a better agent skill-wise, or is it more about the marketing perception? And with so many options, how should agents prioritize what to learn?
The sources link continuous learning directly to positive outcomes. They state it makes you a more effective advocate for your clients, better equipped to handle complex situations with confidence.
Right.
Clients recognize and value this depth of knowledge, remembering you for the tangible value you provided, not just how friendly you were. It also earns you respect and referrals from other agents and positions you clearly as the go-to expert in your chosen area or niche. The ROI on certifications, while perhaps not directly measurable in exact commission percentage points, is presented as significant because it builds specialized expertise and trust, which attracts higher quality business and referrals, ultimately leading to increased earnings. Prioritizing learning, the sources imply, should be guided by your business plan, focusing on areas that strengthen your UVP, improve service to your ideal client, or fill identified gaps in your knowledge or skills.
Got it. So tie it back to the plan. Mastery of the craft also hinges on negotiation skills. Work that poker face. Sounds intense.
It can be. This is presented as a core competency that goes far beyond simply haggling over price. Great negotiation in real estate, according to the sources, involves mastering your own emotions, controlling your reactions in high-pressure situations, understanding the nuances of when to push versus when to compromise, and being able to articulate and advocate for your client's needs effectively.
And the instruction to maintain a poker face. Why is that emphasized as so crucial? Seems almost cold.
The sources explain why this emotional control is so vital. In the inherently stressful process of buying or selling, clients look to their agent to be the calm presence in the chaos.
The steady hand.
Exactly. If you appear panicked, uncertain, overly emotional, or even too excited, it heightens client anxiety and can reveal your strategy or weakness to the other side, costing your client valuable negotiating leverage. Your composure is actually a critical tool.
Okay, that makes sense.
The material provides specific scenarios where this comes into play. For example, when giving pricing advice, you need a steady demeanor, even if the client's expectations are maybe unrealistic. Receiving a lowball offer shouldn't make you visibly angry or disappointed. Talking with emotional clients requires empathy, but also maintaining professional detachment so you can think clearly. In a bidding war, your buyer needs to see confidence from you, not your own nervousness reflecting back at them.
Those are very practical illustrations. How does strong negotiation ability impact an agent's overall reputation?
It significantly enhances it. The sources state that skilled negotiators are known for winning better deals for their clients without unnecessarily escalating conflict or derailing the transaction.
Smooth operator.
Kind of, yeah. They resolve potential conflicts calmly and constructively, building trust not only with their clients but also with other agents, which can smooth future deals. Ultimately, it leads to deals closing faster and more smoothly. It requires a mix of empathy to understand the other party's position, strategic thinking to anticipate moves, and unwavering confidence.
Can negotiation skills actually be taught and learned, though?
Yeah.
Or is it something you're either naturally good at or you're not? And how directly does managing your own emotional state influence your ability to successfully manage a transaction for your client? Does it change much when you're representing a buyer versus a seller?
Excellent points.
Yeah.
The sources imply negotiation is definitely a skill that can be developed and mastered, linking it implicitly to continuous learning and practice. They frame it as something you work at, not just something you have. Managing your own emotions is presented as foundational to your ability to negotiate effectively. If you are reactive, stressed, or unable to maintain composure, you simply cannot be the clear-headed strategic guide your client needs. Your internal state directly impacts your ability to think strategically, listen actively, and maintain control of the conversation.
Right.
While the material doesn't delve into extensive detail on specific buyer versus seller tactics, the core principles, understanding motivations, strategic positioning, clear communication, and emotional control are applicable to both sides, though naturally your objectives and leverage points will differ depending on which side you represent.
Yeah.
A buyer's agent might focus more on price and inspection contingencies, while a seller's agent focuses on price, strong terms, and maybe a quick closing timeline.
Got it. Shifting gears now to building relationships and networks. The sources lean on some very common sayings here, don't they?
Yes. They mention the classic real estate maxims. Your success is directly tied to who you know. And the big one, it's not what you know, but who you know. These aren't just cliches. They are presented as fundamental truths that underpin success in this very relationship-driven business.
And this leads us to the importance of the sphere of influence, or SOI. What does that network actually encompass? Who's in it?
Your network, or sphere of influence, is defined really broadly as basically everyone you know who could potentially do business with you or refer business to you. This includes, of course, current and past clients, but also a wide range of industry professionals like lenders you trust, home inspectors, real estate attorneys, contractors.
The whole ecosystem.
Exactly. It extends to local business owners, people in your community groups, friends, family, essentially everyone you've built some kind of connection with over time.
And why is this presented as the foundation of all success in real estate? That sounds pretty definitive.
The sources are very direct about this. People are far, far more likely to hire a real estate agent they already know and trust. or someone who's been personally recommended by a trusted friend, family member, or colleague. This personal connection and referral network is where the majority of your consistent, sustainable business will originate.
So, unlike maybe passive advertising, this network requires active cultivation. You have to work at it.
Absolutely. The sources emphasize that building a powerful sphere of influence doesn't happen by accident. It must be actively nurtured and consistently expanded. They provide actionable tips for this. Attend industry events to connect with peers and service providers, join local business associations or chambers of commerce, build strong relationships with vendors you recommend to clients because they can refer back, and most importantly, maintain regular, meaningful contact with past clients.
Staying in touch with everyone you know, that sounds like a monumental task. How do you actually manage that effectively without it taking over your life?
That's a valid concern. The sources suggest employing various methods to stay in consistent contact throughout the year, tailored to the relationship and your brand. Regular email newsletters with valuable info, not just sales pitches, targeted texts for quick check-ins, personalized phone calls, traditional direct mail like holiday cards or market updates, engaging authentically on social media platforms, and even hosting in-person client appreciation events or pop-bys.
Okay.
The key is consistent, valuable touchpoints that remind people you're active, you care, and you're available without being overly pushy or salesy.
Is building and nurturing this network more important than, say, having deep market knowledge or mastering the latest technology? How can an agent build a network authentically without feeling like they're just transactional or using people for leads? That feels icky. And how does technology like CRM systems actually help manage a large network effectively?
Yeah, crucial questions about priorities and authenticity. The sources present the network as the foundation for lead generation, implying its importance is paramount, particularly in the early stages and for long-term stability.
Mm-hmm.
Deals fundamentally come from people knowing, liking, and trusting you.
Right.
Building authentically means genuinely caring about the relationships themselves, providing value proactively like sharing market insights, useful local contacts, or community news, and staying in touch even when you're not hoping for a specific deal right now. It's about being a trusted resource and, dare I say, a friend first. Technology like CRM systems, customer relationship management, is presented as absolutely essential for managing this network effectively as it grows. The sources describe a CRM as your central hub for keeping track of leads, adding notes about conversations or client preferences like kids' names or anniversaries, scheduling consistent follow-ups so people don't slip through the cracks, and segmenting your network for more targeted, relevant communication. It prevents valuable relationships from falling through the cracks as your network grows beyond what you can juggle in your head.
Okay, so CRM is the organizer. Another key relationship the sources highlight is finding and having a mentor.
Yes, finding a mentor is described as a genuine game changer that can significantly accelerate your learning curve and help you avoid costly, time-consuming mistakes, especially early on.
What specific benefits does the material attribute to having a mentor? What kind of insights do they provide that you might not get just from training materials or, textbooks?
The sources list several really compelling benefits. A good mentor prepares you for the real-world challenges and nuances that aren't covered in licensing courses, the stuff you only learn by doing or by watching someone experienced do it.
The practical stuff?
Exactly. They can literally take years off your learning timeline by providing seasoned insights based on direct experience, helping you navigate complex situations without having to figure everything out through painful trial and error. They teach invaluable practical skills like interpreting the subtle language in contracts, managing emotionally charged clients or difficult negotiations, and how to handle the inevitable setbacks when a deal doesn't close.
Mm-hmm.
They provide accountability, keep you on track with your goals, offer support and celebrate your wins, which is important, and often introduce you to their own trusted circle of industry professionals like lenders, inspectors, and contractors, expanding your network immediately.
So it's real-world knowledge, practical skills, emotional support, and network acceleration all rolled into one relationship. Wow. Where does the material suggest finding a good mentor? How do you go about that?
The best places, according to the sources, include seeking someone experienced within your own brokerage. They mention programs like the one at eXp Realty as an example, specifically noting their program for agents with fewer than 3 transactions, indicating structured support exists.
Okay.
Attending local real estate networking events and seeking out seasoned professionals you connect with. Or sometimes simply reaching out directly to senior agents or colleagues whose success and style you admire and asking if they'd be willing to grab a coffee, chat, and potentially mentor you.
What qualities, based on the sources, make for a good mentor? And on the flip side, how can a mentee maximize the value they get from that relationship? Is having a mentor absolutely necessary for success, or is it more of a powerful accelerator?
While the sources don't provide a definitive checklist of mentor qualities, they imply someone experienced, successful, willing to openly share practical knowledge and insights, including their failures, patient and supportive, a good listener.
Makes sense.
A mentee, to make the most of it, should come prepared with specific questions for each meeting. Listen actively, take notes, be proactive in scheduling meetings and following up, and show genuine respect for the mentor's time and expertise. Be coachable.
Right.
The material frames mentorship as a game changer that accelerates learning and helps avoid mistakes, suggesting it's a powerful advantage and accelerator rather than an absolute prerequisite for success, though its impact sounds incredibly significant based on these descriptions.
All right, let's talk about the essential tools of the modern trade. Leveraging tools and tech. The sources strongly advocate for using technology to enable working smarter, not harder.
Absolutely. Technology is presented not as some complicated burden, but as a vital enabler that can massively increase productivity and results. The key, according to the material, is focusing on tools that help you stay organized, efficient, and accountable to your business plan, not just tech for tech's sake.
What are some of the specific types of technology the sources highlight as particularly important for agents today?
The sources mention several key categories. CRM systems, customer relationship management, as we touched on, are described again as the central hub for managing leads, tracking client interactions, organizing notes, and automating follow-ups. So, foundational.
Right.
Digital marketing tools help agents create, schedule, and manage their online content and campaigns across various platforms. Think social media schedulers, email marketing software, etc. Lead generation companies are mentioned as an option for agents looking to scale their lead volume faster, though that comes with costs. And having a professional website is presented as much more than just an online brochure. It's described as the 247 lead converter, a personal brand hub, and a platform for sharing valuable content like blog posts or market reports.
That's quite a tech stack. With so many options and platforms constantly emerging, how should an agent decide which tools are the right fit for them? Isn't there a risk of getting overwhelmed by technology, just adding too many things?
That's a very real challenge the sources implicitly acknowledge. The emphasis on choosing tools that help you stay organized and accountable is the guiding principle. This means selecting technology that directly supports your specific business goals, streamlines existing workflows, and ideally integrates well with other tools you use to avoid data silos.
Got it.
The sources imply a focus on automating repetitive, administrative tasks, but time sucks, to free up agent time for higher value activities. And yes, there is absolutely a risk of tech overload if you try to adopt too many disparate systems, leading to complexity, confusion, and wasted time and money. The advice points towards strategic selection and implementation based on clear needs, not just chasing the latest shiny object.
Why has smart tech become so essential in real estate today? What's driving this need?
The sources explain that client expectations have fundamentally shifted. Today's clients expect convenience, speed, and transparency throughout the entire process. They often compare agents based on how easy they are to reach, how smoothly the transaction process feels, and the professionalism of their digital presence, website, communication, everything.
Okay.
Furthermore, the sources note that a real estate agent wears so many hats. They're a salesperson, a marketer, an administrator, a transaction coordinator, a social media manager. The list goes on. Technology is crucial for removing friction from these various roles, automating routine tasks like document management or follow-up reminders, and giving agents back valuable time to focus on the high-value activities that require human expertise and interaction, like building relationships, negotiating complex deals, and developing strategy.
Makes sense. Freeing up human time for human tasks.
Exactly. The material even touches on more innovative tools, mentioning virtual and augmented reality as ways to offer clients immersive experiences of properties remotely, showcasing how tech continues to push the boundaries of what's possible in showcasing listings and serving clients from afar.
Is leveraging technology reaching a point where it's becoming just a baseline requirement to compete rather than a distinct competitive advantage? How can agents strike the right balance between using tech efficiently and maintaining that absolutely crucial personal connection we discussed earlier? And looking ahead, how might AI continue to reshape the agent's role?
Yeah, these are critical points for the future. The sources suggest that while cutting-edge tech can still offer an advantage, a certain level of digital proficiency and technological efficiency is indeed becoming a baseline expectation from clients. You just have to have it.
Table stakes.
Pretty much. The key, as presented in the material, is using tech to enhance personal connection, not replace it. A good CRM, for example, doesn't automate your relationship. It helps you remember important details to make personal interactions more meaningful and timely. Automation frees up time for more human interaction, not less, if used strategically.
Right.
While AI isn't extensively detailed in these notes, based on the source's emphasis on automation and agents needing to provide higher value-added services, one could infer that AI could potentially automate even more administrative or analytical tasks in the future. This would further emphasize the agent's role as a human advisor, a skilled negotiator, an empathic guide through a complex process, and a creative problem solver, requiring agents to provide even higher-level, personalized value that AI likely cannot replicate anytime soon.
So leaning into the human element even more. Okay, let's move into the aspects of real estate that are perhaps less exciting than showing those dope properties, but are absolutely critical for building a sustainable career. The business side and market realities. The sources really reiterate that this is fundamentally a business, not just a sales job.
Correct. The material explicitly states that mastering the business side of real estate is what separates thriving agents from surviving ones. It's about building a resilient, profitable enterprise with real longevity.
What specific business skills are highlighted as essential beyond just sales techniques? What does that mean in practice?
The sources emphasize the need to be strategic, rather than purely reactive to market whims or the latest hot lead. This means making intentional, data-driven decisions about where to invest your time, energy, and money. It involves investing in tools, training, and systems that don't just offer a quick fix, but actually compound your success over time, meaning the benefits build on each other, creating momentum. And a key goal of mastering the business side is building a business that ultimately serves your life, providing the income and flexibility you desire, rather than letting the business consume you entirely, which is a real risk.
They even recommend some general business books, which is interesting. It's not just real estate specific stuff.
Yes, the sources suggest looking beyond the industry bubble. They mention foundational business texts like The E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber, which focuses on building systems so your business doesn't rely solely on you. Atomic Habits by James Clear, relevant for establishing consistent, productive routines, and Profit First by Mike Mikulovich, which provides a simple framework for financial management specifically for entrepreneurs.
Right.
This suggests that general entrepreneurial and business management principles are directly applicable and incredibly valuable in a real estate career. You're running a small business after all.
What specific business skills do agents, especially those coming from maybe a pure sales background, most often overlook? How can someone actively develop these skills? And could you elaborate a bit more on how investing in training compounds success? What does that mean?
That's insightful. Agents often overlook rigorous financial management beyond just tracking commissions like budgeting, cash flow forecasting, tax planning, also long-term strategic planning that looks years ahead, not just quarter to quarter, developing scalable systems for marketing and client management so you're not reinventing the wheel constantly, and truly understanding market analytics beyond surface-level trends to inform strategy. The sources imply these skills can be developed through dedicated effort, seeking out relevant training, both real estate-specific and general business courses or workshops, mentorship, as we discussed, deliberate practice in applying business principles to your own operation, and studying resources like those recommended books. Investing in training compounds success because improved skills in areas like negotiation, marketing efficiency, financial planning, or using technology smarter lead to better client outcomes, more referrals, reduced expenses, and wiser investments. Each improvement builds upon the last, generating significantly greater results over time than the initial investment alone. It creates a positive feedback loop.
A virtuous cycle. Okay. A major and potentially daunting early decision for any agent is choosing which brokerage to join. The sources call this finding your brokerage soulmate. Quite the term.
It is, and it highlights how important this decision is. It's presented as a critical decision point that significantly impacts an agent's early career trajectory and potential long-term success. The brokerage influences everything from the initial training you receive or don't receive to your commission split structure, potential lead generation opportunities they might offer, the professional environment and culture you work in daily, and the technology tools available to you.
What specific factors does the material suggest an agent should consider when evaluating different brokerages? What's the checklist?
The sources provide a pretty comprehensive list. Look closely at the training programs they offer, especially for new agents. Is it structured, ongoing? Evaluate the marketing assistance and resources available. Do they provide templates, support, a budget? Understand their approach to lead generation. Do they provide leads? And at what cost split? Or are you entirely on your own? Assess the technology and tools they provide. CRM systems, websites, marketing platforms, transaction management software. Research their reputation in the market, and among other agents, what's the word on the street? Get a feel for the culture and support system. Is it collaborative and helpful, or more competitive and sink or swim? And inquire about any potential additional income opportunities they might offer, like revenue sharing or stock options. The strong recommendation from the sources is definitely to interview several brokerages before committing to one. Don't just sign up with the first one you talk to.
How much of an agent's success is truly dependent on their brokerage versus their own individual drive and effort? I mean, can a great agent succeed anywhere? And are larger brokerages generally better for new agents, or could a smaller, more boutique firm be a better fit? And can we briefly touch on how income?
That's a nuanced point. The sources imply that while the brokerage provides a vital platform, crucial resources like training, leads, and tech, and foundational support, the agent's individual drive, work ethic, and application of all the strategies we're discussing are ultimately paramount. The brokerage provides the environment, but the agent has to build the business within it.
Right.
The material doesn't explicitly favor large or small brokerages, but emphasizes that for new agents, factors like structured training programs and a supportive, accessible culture, which can theoretically be found in both large franchises and smaller independent firms, are particularly important. You need that initial guidance. Commission splits are basically the percentage of the commission earned on a sale that the agent keeps after sharing a portion with the brokerage. Structures vary wildly. Some start with a lower split for the agent, maybe 50-50 or 60-40, but provide lots of support and leads. Others offer very high splits, like 80-20 or even 90-10, but expect the agent to be largely self-sufficient and cover more costs. Many also have a cap fee, which is a maximum annual amount the agent pays the brokerage in splits. Once the agent hits that cap, they then receive 100% of their commission splits for the rest of the brokerage's fiscal year. This structure significantly impacts net income, especially for high-producing agents.
Got it.
The sources also briefly note that recent regulatory changes, particularly around commission structures and transparency, are a dynamic area agents absolutely need to understand, as they may impact how agent compensation models evolve going forward.
Understanding the financial side is clearly key, and the sources place a strong emphasis on building financial resilience. Why is this highlighted as so crucial for agents?
Because real estate income is notoriously variable. It's inconsistent. The sources describe it with the evocative phrase, rainy days and dry listings, acknowledging the feast or famine nature of the business for many.
Yeah.
They specifically cite data from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, showing typical slower periods, like December through February, and peak seasons, often April through June, although this varies by market. Because income isn't a steady paycheck like a W-2 job, building financial resilience, basically, having a buffer or safety net, is presented as absolutely essential for surviving slow seasons, navigating unexpected market shifts, and weathering personal slumps without panicking or making bad decisions out of desperation.
What specific strategies does the material recommend for building this financial safety net? How do you do it?
The sources suggest a few key practices. First, and most importantly, commit to saving a dedicated percentage of every single commission earned, even during the busy months when money feels plentiful. The goal mentioned is to build up enough savings to cover 3 to 6 months of your essential living and business expenses. That's the buffer. Second, consider diversifying your income streams. The sources mention looking into real estate-related side hustles that can provide more consistent income, especially early on or during slow periods. Examples given or implied include offering real estate photography services, teaching pre-licensing or continuing education courses if you're qualified, or getting involved in property management. Leveraging your license for other work, like making referrals to agents in different geographic areas for a fee, is also an option.
Right.
Third, strategically use those predictable, slower seasons not just for rest, which is important too, but for proactive business-building activities, maintaining relationships through outreach or events, strengthening your brand presence online, and deliberately building referral relationships with agents outside your market area or in different niches. Plant seeds for the future.
And the sources mention that building savings isn't just about security.
Exactly. The sources frame it powerfully as providing freedom. Freedom to turn down clients who aren't the right fit or who are disrespectful. Freedom to invest in your business growth, like better tech or marketing, without undue financial stress. And freedom to navigate market downturns or personal challenges without being forced into desperate decisions just to pay the bills next month. It gives you choices.
Is building financial resilience primarily a matter of discipline then, or are there actual skills involved? How can agents effectively manage cash flow when their income fluctuates so wildly from month to month? And could you give a bit more detail on some of those common real estate side hustles mentioned or implied?
That's a great question. The sources imply it's definitely a blend of discipline, the consistent habit of saving, paying yourself first, and financial literacy skills. That means budgeting effectively, understanding your cash flow patterns, when money comes in, when bills are due, and rigorous tracking of both income and expenses. Managing cash flow with variable income requires dedicating that percentage to savings immediately upon receiving a commission check before it gets absorbed into general spending. Setting up separate accounts can help.
Makes sense.
Common side hustles mentioned or implied include those we touched on: property management, managing rental properties for owners for a fee, real estate photography or videography, if you have the skill equipment, teaching real estate courses, working as a transaction coordinator for other busy agents, handling the paperwork, providing BPOs or broker price opinions for lenders or asset management companies, though BPOs weren't explicitly named in the source notes provided, it's a common license use, or simply earning referral fees by actively sending business to agents in areas or specialties you don't service.
Okay, lots of options there. To round out the picture of the business environment, the sources also dive into broader market realities and income. What does the job market outlook look like for agents based on the data presented? Is it growing? Shrinking?
Looking at data like that from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS, the employment outlook for real estate agents is projected to grow by about 2% over the next decade or so through 2033. Now, that 2% is considered slower than the average growth rate for all occupations combined.
Okay.
However, the sources add an important caveat. Despite the slower overall growth percentage, literally thousands of job openings are still anticipated each year. These openings largely come from agents retiring or leaving the profession for other reasons. There's significant turnover in the industry. So the takeaway is there's consistent opportunity for new, driven agents to enter and succeed, even if the overall pie isn't growing dramatically.
What factors are currently shaping this job market and the opportunities within it? What's influencing things?
The sources highlight several key influencers. Interest rates play a huge role. Higher rates tend to dampen sales volume by making mortgages more expensive and reducing buyer affordability. The overall housing market cycles, whether we're in an expansionary boom or a correction or downturn, obviously impact transaction activity significantly. Technology, as we've discussed, requires agents to continuously offer greater value beyond just accessing listing data. You have to justify your role. And there are geographic dynamics. Prospects are generally better in growing urban and suburban markets compared to stagnant or declining rural areas. Population shifts matter.
And circling back to income, how does the data presented reflect the variability we kept talking about?
The data absolutely confirms this variability. While an average annual salary figure is cited as roughly $85,793, according to ZipRecruiter data from May 2025, the sources immediately qualify this by stating income varies significantly. The example given of Soledad, California, showing an average closer to $128,338, directly illustrates the major impact of geographic location on earning potential. Same job title, vastly different average income.
Wow. What other specific factors does the material identify as significantly affecting an agent's income potential besides location?
The sources list several key factors: experience and time commitment. Full-time agents, especially those with, say, 11, 25 plus years in the business, tend to earn substantially more than part-timers or those just starting out. Make sense? Geographic location, as we saw, location, applies to the agent's market area as much as property values. Specialization or niche, focusing on a specific property type like luxury or commercial, a specific neighborhood or a client group like military relocations, can command higher income. brokerage commission splits and cap fees directly impact the agent's net earnings, as we discussed. Prevailing market conditions, booms versus downturns, dictate overall transaction volume and price levels, affecting everyone. Education and skills, investing in continuous learning, mastering negotiation, leveraging tech, effectively makes agents more efficient and effective at closing profitable deals. And regulatory changes, like the recent shifts in commission structures, are noted as potentially impacting future income models across the industry, adding another layer of uncertainty or change.
Okay, given all this variability and the complex interplay of all these factors, how can an agent realistically assess their own earning potential when starting out or looking to grow? It seems hard to predict. And how might those recent regulatory changes concerning commission structures specifically impact income models going forward? Finally, is specializing or niching down primarily a strategy for attracting specific clients, or is it directly linked to increasing income potential?
These are excellent concluding questions for this whole business reality section. The sources suggest that realistically assessing your potential requires a careful analysis of your chosen location's specific market data, average prices, sales volume, your planned time commitment, you're really going all in full time, the typical commission structures and splits offered by brokerages in your area, and identifying potential niches that align with market demand and your own strengths and interests. It's definitely a multivariable equation, not a simple number. Regarding regulatory changes, the sources imply agents absolutely must stay informed because these changes directly affect the traditional commission models and could necessitate shifts towards alternative compensation methods. Maybe more flat fees for specific services, hourly consultation fees, or tiered service packages. Agents will need to be even better at clearly articulating their value proposition beyond just facilitating the transaction percentage.
Okay.
And finally, the sources present specialization or niching as directly linked to both attracting ideal clients and increasing income potential. By becoming a recognized expert in a specific area, geographic property type, client type, you attract clients specifically seeking that expertise. This allows you to be more efficient, potentially command higher fees, or work on higher value transactions due to specialized knowledge, and benefit from more focused, high-quality referral networks, all of which contribute to higher earnings potential compared to trying to be a generalist serving everyone.
We've covered a tremendous amount of ground, really, from the foundational mindset and planning through the branding, the craft, the relationships, the tech, and the hard realities of the market and the business. To bring it all together, the sources culminate by discussing the mindset of resilience.
Yes, and this is presented as perhaps the most critical mindset for long-term survival and success in real estate. It's called an empowering mindset that is absolutely essential in an industry inherently filled with rejection, unpredictability, and frequent setbacks. You just can't avoid them.
And the sources don't sugarcoat the challenges you'll inevitably face, do they? They're pretty blunt.
Not at all. They paint a very clear picture of the tough moments. Leads hanging up on you mid-call, doors being literally slammed in your face during prospecting if you do that, getting ghosted by potential clients after investing significant time and energy, and perhaps most painful, deals falling apart at the very last minute after weeks or even months of hard work and emotional investment from both you and your clients.
Yeah.
These are presented as unavoidable parts of the journey, not exceptions.
So how do you possibly build resilience in the face of that constant potential for disappointment and frustration? It sounds draining.
It can be. But the sources offer concrete strategies for cultivating this resilience. After a setback or a deal falling through, commit to a structured reflection. Ask yourself honestly what worked, what didn't, and what you would do differently next time. Learn from it.
Okay.
Track these insights. The sources suggest literally noting lessons learned from failures or near misses in a journal or log to spot patterns over time and, importantly, to remind yourself how far you've come and the lessons you've already integrated. See your growth.
Right.
Normalize these setbacks by connecting with other realtors. Vent frustrations respectfully. Share your experiences and realize that these challenges are universal in the industry. You are definitely not alone in facing them. That shared experience helps. And finally, prioritize self-care. Techniques like meditation, ensuring you get enough sleep, regular exercise, hobbies outside work. These are presented as vital for managing stress and maintaining emotional strength, not luxuries. The sources make a powerful concluding statement on this point. If you are willing to learn and persevere, the real estate industry, with its inherent challenges, will force you to be resilient and teach you how to bounce back braver and stronger after every fall, if you let it.
Is resilience truly a skill that can be developed through practice and these strategies, Or is it more of an innate personality trait you either have or don't? How important is that agent community, your colleagues, your brokerage peers, for providing the emotional support needed to bounce back? And how can someone mentally prepare themselves before they even face these inevitable challenges?
Yeah, that's the core question, isn't it? The sources strongly imply that resilience is a skill that can be actively developed through the strategies outlined: conscious reflection, learning from failure, actively seeking support, and consistently prioritizing self-care. It's not presented as something you're simply born with or without. It's cultivated.
Okay, that's hopeful.
It is. The agent community is presented as incredibly important for providing that emotional support. Sharing experiences normalizes the difficulties and creates a sense of camaraderie that reduces feelings of isolation and failure. Knowing others go through it too is huge. Mentally preparing, based on the sources, involves acknowledging from the outset that setbacks are part of the business model. They are predictable occurrences, not personal failings. Anchoring yourself with that strong sense of purpose, your why that we started with, provides intrinsic motivation beyond the deal itself. And proactively developing and committing to those resilient strategies like reflection practices and self-care routines before the tough times hit makes you much better equipped to handle them effectively when they inevitably do arrive.
Wow. We've really traveled the entire path laid out by these sources, haven't we? Moving from the initial perception to the deep foundational requirements, the essential skills, the networks, the tools, the business realities, and finally, that vital mindset needed to navigate it all.
We've really extracted the core wisdom from this stack of material, I think. It's clear that becoming a star realtor isn't about chasing some fleeting image. It's about building something substantial, something lasting.
Yeah.
It requires defining your core purpose, building a strong personal brand rooted in genuine authenticity, relentlessly mastering your craft through market knowledge and continuous learning, honing those vital negotiation skills, actively building and nurturing your network, smartly leveraging technology to enhance your work, embracing the business side with strategic thinking and robust financial resilience, and absolutely cultivating that mindset that allows you to learn from failures and bounce back even stronger. It's a holistic picture.
This deep dive has hopefully provided you, the listener, with a comprehensive and definitely non-glamorized look at the dedication, skill, and strategic thinking required. We've pulled out the essential nuggets of knowledge from the provided sources to give you a well-informed understanding of what the true path to becoming a thriving real estate professional actually looks like based on this material.
And maybe here's one final thought-provoking idea pulled directly from the source material for you to consider as you move forward. Knowing your unique personality and strengths isn't just about making your business more enjoyable and authentic. The sources call it your unfair advantage in a crowded market. So the question to ponder is, what could yours be?
Something to definitely mull over. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.